Please share the information provided in this video. Always remember that a crucial part of removing a person's confusion is understanding his or her unique source of it. Now, when we're going to talk about weight loss, I'm going to talk about the basis for what I say. The basis of what I say is not going to be how I look. The basis is going to be science. Because, honestly, which would you rather trust? Science is something that has shown itself to be very effective at humans' ability to manage the world and manage things in the world and the things they need to effectively handle. I mean, GPS would not work if it wasn't for the fact that we have discovered that time does adjust itself to how fast you're moving, and general relativity, that a second becomes longer and shorter, and that sort of thing. That's just science doing its thing. You know, now we have a GPS. The military has GPS that's accurate, like way more accurate than ours. And you know, just the discovery of how our bodies work and microscopes, and then the discovery of germs in 1890, you know, and just the understanding of diseases and how all that works. Science is important. Science is awesome. So you need to go with science, duh. Now, there are limitations of science because science uses inductive reasoning, and what inductive reasoning does is it makes a guess about how the world works, and then it goes and looks at the data, the observations, the experimentation, and it says, does this data lead to the guess that we had? Does it lead us to think the guess is true? But new data can be found that throws the guess, away. For the longest time, we saw that, matter can't be created or destroyed, that mass is always conserved, the law of conservation of mass. And then Einstein predicted that E equals mc squared, that you can actually lose matter and change it into energy. And that was a radical shift, and when we started splitting atoms, we found out how you can do that. So science has its limitations, and we're going to see some of that in this talk. It's not the ultimate system for knowing everything, but it's better than the intuitive guess system that existed before. Although the intuitive guess system was awesome because it allowed us to apply geometry and math to the physical world, and it had some great benefits. The other thing we need to talk about is references, the importance of references. If someone doesn't reference their information, then you have no idea to tell where they're getting it from. You have no way to fact check where this is coming from. So if they want to reference themselves, then they are the scientist, the one who did the research and did the study. But if they don't reference themselves, they need to reference someone who published and put out information and put their name on the line for their claims. And then when someone publishes, other scientists will, in theory, go and try to recreate their whatever. But the one who published will give you the details of how they went about coming to the conclusions they came to. So that's how you check on, you check the story. And the other important thing is, one of the things I've noticed is that good scientists, and generally people who are smarter, will say the words, "I don't know." And if you have someone giving you advice on exercise, for example, and they don't use those words ever, there's a lot we don't know. And the reality is, humans are very complicated creatures, really the most complicated on the planet, especially in terms of behavior. Human behavior, it's a really difficult thing to study, and we need to use the words "I don't know" a lot more. There are a lot of assumptions that may seem reasonable about human behavior and how humans work, but most of the time we don't know. Now, what do we know? The New England Journal of Medicine is what we can thank for this bit of information. They do study after study after study after study after study after study after study on weight loss and what factors contribute to weight loss. What they have found is that if you take in less energy than you use, you will lose weight. And that's pretty much all you need to worry about. Energy usage versus energy intake. And if you run what they call a calorie deficit, calories are just a measure of how much energy is in your food and how much energy you're using. So that's just a unit of measurement for the energy. They could measure it in joules if they wanted to, which is the basic unit, or horsepower is like 746 joules per second. So you can measure it that way. But calories are more effective for human bodies and that type of thing. Now, when you take in food, you take in a certain amount of energy, whether it be proteins, carbohydrates, whatever's. Your body will turn that into sugars, and then those sugars will be turned into eventually the calories you need. And when we do exercise, or when we exist and stay alive, or all the things that our bodies do, is going to take calories. Now, what the New England Journal of Medicine has found is that the myths about weight loss are these. It's not really a genetic thing, although genetics do contribute to it. They're really irrelevant when it comes. If you eat a reduced calorie diet, boom, you're losing weight. It pales in comparison. Snacking throughout the day, if you want to, it's just not relevant. Skipping breakfast or not skipping breakfast, irrelevant. Eating late at night or not eating late at night, irrelevant. Eating low-cal foods, irrelevant. The question is how many calories you eat and how many calories you use them. Avoiding carbs, trying to eat carbs. Avoiding protein, trying to eat protein. Avoiding fat, trying to eat fat. Irrelevant to weight loss. The only thing that's been shown to clearly have an impact, it's not athleticism, it's not how physically active you were as a child or whether or not you were heavy as a child. It's not if you do a lot of yo-yo diet, it's like none of that. Calories in versus calories out always has an effect. So keep that in mind and go to the New England Journal of Medicine website and they'll tell you all about it. Now, obesity from their website is characterized as a chronic condition. So we need to think about how can this be a long-term change? Because if you lose weight now, typically people will return to obesity, return to being fat. Fatness, you could just say. So that's something to keep in mind, that whatever plan you use, it has to have a total forever plan. There are no short-term plans for this that work. In the long run, though. Okay. Exercise always increases overall health. That's just one of the facts from their site, that exercise is always a good thing to be healthier. It is never bad. Unless, I guess, if you over-exercise. But that was just one of the facts they had on their 10 facts is exercise always increases overall health. Some things will affect your calorie usage or intake. So, if you are a more active person, you will burn more calories. If you're a heavier person, you will burn more calories. If you're a bigger person, you will burn more calories. If you smoke crystal meth, you're going to burn more calories. You just stay up all night. Also, the bacteria in your body that you live with every day, that are kind of like your friends that keep bad bacteria out, they will burn some calories too. They will eat your food to exist, and then they'll kind of keep you healthy too. The good ones, the bad ones will too, but you don't want those. You don't want bad bacteria. The calorie usage of muscle, and like a pound of muscle, is really unknown. You hear numbers as high as 100 calories a day. You hear numbers as low as 6 calories a day. So gaining muscle probably will increase your calorie usage, but it's difficult to say by how much. And it's also difficult to say how much muscle you can gain in a certain amount of time. That's kind of an unknown. So you're just going to have to kind of go with what you know on that, basically, because just your general experience. Have you ever lifted weights before? Do you know people who lift weights, and just go on that, because science can't help you there. There's so many studies and there's so much different information, and nothing's really consistent. But here's one thing that is consistent, and just generally speaking, I won't reference this, but you can just go anywhere. You're going to get consistent numbers, generally speaking, on calories burned to do an activity. There are tons of lists on the internet, and usually you get very consistent numbers from various sources, so that's pretty trustworthy. In addition to that, some foods are lower in calories but higher in size, so we say these are less fattening foods. for example, like broccoli or fruit in general is less fattening than just like this. So that's something to keep in mind. But just know that you can, like, if you're going to eat bananas to lose weight, you could just eat like a lot of bananas and not lose anything. So even though they may be more filling, it might not do the trick. Now, the calories needed for weight loss, in other words, how many calories should I eat to achieve a certain weight? And typically this is a generally agreed on thing too, so I'll just throw these numbers out there out of the blue without referencing it, because like everywhere you look you get agreement on this. It's 12 to 15 calories per pound for a man, 10 to 12 for a woman. So what that means is, like, if you are a man and you want to weigh a certain number of pounds, let's say you want to weigh 150, you need to eat 12 times 150 calories, and I think that's like 1800, I think, off the top of my head. You can do the math. And if you want to maintain your weight, you're more in the 15 range. And for a woman, it's 10 to 12. So for a woman, if you want to weigh 150, you need to eat 1500 a day, and you'll get to 150. But you could do exercise to increase your expenditure. What you need is the leftover calories to be 150. So with all that said, the question becomes, okay, well, how do we do this? And this is the reasonable weight loss plan that I'm trying to give you in this video. It's real simple. It's just trying to be logical and rational about this and not be crazy. Many people who need to lose weight, to eat the calories they need to eat to get to the weight they need to eat, if you look at is going to be reducing calories like by a lot. So if you take some guy who needs to lose like 5 pounds, like let's say he's 160 and he wants to get to 150, or let's say he's 180 and he wants to get to 170, like the amount of calories he has to cut out to do that are nothing compared to a guy who weighs like 220 or 200 and wants to get down to the same weight. Like, a lot of times, just in my personal experiences, people may be eating 3,000 to 5,000 a day, and like, you're talking about cutting out thousands of calories a day. So like, it's not going to be easy. Surprise, surprise. The New England Journal of Medicine did find that aggressive weight loss goals can be just as effective as not so aggressive ones, and that you can go for it with full force, or you can go for it, not so hard. But this is a not so hard system. And basically what this system does is it says the difficult thing to do is to eat less. If you eat less calories, then you will lose weight. That's known. But how do you get yourself to eat less? So this system is designed to just train yourself to do that. Week 1, you just eat what you normally eat, but you keep a record. You record what you normally eat. You figure out what your average per day is by recording what you eat every day. You go through the whole week. Week 2, instead of eating what you normally eat, you just eat the average. You just figure out what the average is and just make sure that you eat that average. And what you're doing in those first 2 weeks is you're learning to keep track of it all, to do the math every day. And in that, you're learning how to, okay, I've got to put things in the right place, and this and not that. I can have this, I can't have that. You're going to take 2 weeks of not even trying to eat less. All you're trying to do is learn how to keep track of it and organize it. Then what you do in the next week is simply go down 100 calories. Eat 100 calories less. So it's not a huge, difficult thing to do. You just eat 100 calories less. And you work on that. And hopefully you'll get it. And the way this plan works is like, if you can get 6 of the 7 days of the week where you ate the right amount of calories for 6 of those 7 days, then you're good. You're solid on that one. You have one cheat day where you can eat the whatever. And if you can do that, then like, you're stable and solid enough to go down 100 more calories. And then the next week you go down 100 more. And then the next week you go down 100 more. Let's say 1 week you blow it and you go over one extra day, or you only eat the calories 5 days a week. What do? You just start again. So if you make a mistake, you're not going back to the beginning. You're going back to whatever your last accomplished calorie level was, because you defeated that. It's like in a video game where you saved your level or whatever. So you have a basis that keeps growing, and if you mess up on the next level, you go back to that basis. In addition to that, if you get on down lower, what you're going to find is that the cheat days become kind of gross and nasty, and you're just like, oh, I hate these cheat days. You'll find that because you're going to become more and more accustomed to eating less, and then it's going to feel kind of gross to stuff yourself with a lot of food. And that's kind of the goal of the system, to get you accustomed to eating less. And it totally works. What I would recommend is that when you get down to the last maybe 300 calories, instead of eating less for those, because you'll feel kind of tired, cut those out with exercise, and maybe eating less fattening foods. Because when you get down to the last little bit, it's going to get hard, really hard. So what you can do is eat more fruits and veg, and run or something, I don't know, or some activity you like to do. Look up the calorie usage and try to burn 300 calories a day, and maybe throw in some less fattening foods to decrease what you eat. But really, eat that 300 more than whatever you need to, and try to burn it off. And in the long run, you've got long-term change, and that is the goal of all this. So the benefits of exercise are tremendous. You can just look them up. They're amazing. And the benefits of weight loss are amazing. Just look it up anywhere. We all need to do it bad. Obesity shows people who are obese generally have much less health in life and much less physical capability, especially as they get older, and they lose it quicker. It's just generally just a bad thing. I mean, I won't even list. I think, here, let's just Google it real quick. Results. Let's try results of obesity, and we get health effects of obesity from Stanford Hospital. How you get higher blood pressure? Okay, that's bad. That means more headaches. You can increase the heart rate, and you're working the heart harder, so you're talking heart attacks. Diabetes. Obesity is the major cause of type 2 diabetes. Heart disease, hardening of the arteries, is present 10 times more often in obese people than those who are not obese. Joint problems, including arthritis. Obesity can affect the knees and hips because of stress placed on joint weight. Joint replacement surgery, while commonly performed on damaged joints, may not be a advisable option for an obese person because the artificial joint has a high risk of loosening and causing further damage. Sleep apnea and respiratory problems. Cancer in women. Being overweight contributes to an increased risk for a variety of cancers. And there's a bunch there. And men too. And they list some there. Metabolic syndrome. The National Cholesterol Education Program has identified metabolic syndrome as a complex risk factor for cardiovascular disease. Okay, whoa. And psychological effects. They say you'll feel crappy about yourself if you're you can get over the feeling crappy about yourself. If you're married, you're fine. But high blood pressure sucks. Your heart's beating hard, you're tired all the time, you can't do anything, you've got headaches, and that's leading to I don't know, other problems. Diabetes sucks. You can die. You can lose a foot. Heart disease, yeah, dying sucks. Also, you can get a stroke, blood clots and stuff. Joint problems and arthritis, those suck. Not being able to breathe good, that sucks. Cancer sucks. Okay. Higher chance of cancer, that sucks real bad. Okay. So there. Hope you found the information in this video informative and enjoyable. Thank you for your time.